So a bunch of people in India were massacred when they were protesting environmentally destructive corporations. These corporations can just do whatever they want. So this is what happened recently. Police in India killed a dozen protesters in the southern state of Tamil Nadu after 100 days of demonstrations against the mining corporation Sterile. That's crazy. But kind of sounds familiar, right? Energy transfer partners can just take sovereign land from the Standing Rock tribe, bully, arrest, shoot protesters who just want to protect water and protect their communities. So let me get into some of the details here. This is just what happens. I got this from therealnews.com. People in the city of Toothcoodi in the Indian state Naboo, they held a protest for months demanding the closure of an environmentally destructive copper smelting plant run by the metal company Sterile, which is owned by the UK-based mega corporation Vedanta Resources. Residents of villages nearby stressed that the facility was polluting their environment. Oh, wow. Weird that when you pollute someone's environment, they don't like it because you can't live with a polluted environment, leading to increased rates of cancer, breathing problems, and other public health concerns. So these mining corporations that put all this crap into the air and people are getting sick and getting cancer. Do you think it can't happen to you? You think if you just poison all the water all around the world that you'll just get nice bottled water sent to your office in London or whatever? I don't understand how people think that this won't affect them. India's way over there. Yeah, but they're doing it here. There's contaminated water in Flint, Michigan. People have neurological damage as a result of contaminated water in Flint, Michigan. It's been going on for 4 years. There's contaminated water in many, many other cities in America. And weird, the mainstream media isn't talking about it. Because they can do whatever they want. On May 22nd, the 100th day of the protest, police responded with extreme violence, shooting at the unarmed demonstrators. I'm sure the Sterile representatives like, well, the protesters became violent. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. They just want you to shut down. 13 protesters were killed and others were injured in the massacre. Politicians from some local parties and activists accused the police of planning to shoot and kill the protesters in an attempt to crush the months-long demonstration. In response to the massive scandal that ensued, the chief minister of the Tamil Nadu state ordered the plant to be closed. Good on him. Residents and environmental groups, which had campaigned for 22 years to close the facility, celebrated this as an important victory. 13 people had to die to get this victory. And then there's an interview here with Kavita Mardalaran, who is a journalist and has been reporting on this issue and published an article on the website The Wire titled "Shiite Protest Speculation Rife That Police Firing Was Pre-Planned." And this is what she has to say about this Sterile Corporation, which was operating from the coastal town of Toothcoodi. It's a coastal town basically in southern Nadu since 1996. Prior to this, Sterile was initially supposed to be set up in Ratnagiri near, forgive me for mispronouncing all these Indian names, Maharashtra. There was an outbreak of public protests and they eventually had to move cities. And in this new city in Toothcoodi, they could somehow convince the government to give them all kinds of licenses, and they started their operation in 1996. But since 96, there's been protests. And what happened was very remarkable. The country fishermen in that area laid siege to a ship that was carrying ore from Australia to Toothcoodi. So they laid a siege, and it was a big thing back in 1996. But it wasn't very well reported. Weird. So this protest has always been going on, which would make it stand to reason that the sterile company said, all right, it's time to just gun these people down. It's time to gun them down. This journalist found that the police thing was planned. The police had intended to kill the protesters. And two, one cannot really establish a connection between the rising incidence of cancer and the pollution caused by the industry like sterile. The incidence of cancer has been rising in one small place, in one small village. At least 6 people have died the month of April. It's kind of created a fear in the minds of people. They started thinking the pollution is the reason for the cancer, and there's nothing that has happened from the side of the government or from the side of sterile to allay the fears of the people. This is a very fortunate thing that I saw on the ground. People have all kinds of fears, but no step has been taken to allay these fears. This was very important, and no cohort study has been done on what kind of pollution is happening. It was one of the most polluted towns in Tamil Nadu, but there has been no study to establish what is happening there. And this UK company, Vigilante, has been trying to establish roots all around the region and across India. The one problem is Vigilante has established a mining company and protests are still happening. They're trying to set up other places and people keep protesting it. So it's really what this shows is that this is what these mining companies do. And the fact that locals are opposing it, and there's no attempt to educate people. The government, the central government particularly, thinks it's okay to go ahead with all these kind of projects without the consent of the people. So they don't do any sort of oversight. They don't do any environmental impact studies. Now we have those things set up here in America, but they've been started. These pipeline companies and these oil companies buy them out, circumvent them, get their own people on the board or the committee, and we're supposed to have third-party civilian oversight of everything. There's a reason for that. Someone wants to build something, there should be an environmental impact on it to see what it's going to do. Is it going to contaminate the water? Are people going to get, is this materials cancerous, and so on down the line. And in India, they just went around it. And as a result, people have been protesting for the better part of 2 decades, and then 13 people were killed, and now it's getting shut down. Which is crazy. I mean, in the long run, it's good that it got shut down. It is a victory, but look what has to happen. Look what you have to do to defeat the corporate state. So hats off to these protesters. I'm glad this is some type of victory, and just why you have to monitor these. And look what they do too. They love going to poor third world countries. They love because they're easier to take advantage of, way easier to take advantage of. And you pay people $5-10 a day or whatever, and ooh, they're happy. But like the fishermen have been resisting this since the 90s. So I just want to show you how these corporations move. There's always some big parent megacorp that owns all of these, like, sort of megacorps underneath it. And they go around and they buy off politics. This is their job. This is what they do. They don't care if people get hurt. They don't care if people get cancer. They don't think it's ever. They think they're impervious to other people's suffering because they make a lot of money. That's what that sort of egregious wealth breeds. Is that sort of like, not my problem. Hey, profits are good, you know. How many assholes in some London office celebrated this, just like all the shitbags in Wall Street celebrating this, or whatever corporate headquarters. So I'm glad that Real News covers stuff like this and lets us know about it. Realnews.com is a really good source. The link is below. And many of you already are paying attention to them. If you're new to them, please check them out. And please check out GrahamElwood.com for the Progressive Comedy Tour, June 20th through the 24th. We're going to Nashville, Huntsville, Asheville, Louisville, and Atlanta. Ron Placone and I doing the Progressive Comedy Tour. Go to GrahamElwood.com and support the show at Patreon. Thank you so much.